best interest of our community. And today we will work even harder to make sure that we go forward with building a new entertainment sports complex. We use every remedy possible, and I think we're going to get it done. This is not about the Maloofs. This is not about the Kings. It's really bigger than that for our community. It's about the economic and cultural vitality of our community. It's about the future. We've got to show that we can do big things. It's about civic pride. And I know Sacramento has a pioneering and entrepreneurial spirit, and I know we'll do our best to make that happen. And I just want to tell the public, I'm going to continue to fight. When I say I, this is not just Kevin. I talked to council members upstairs. We are all in alignment that we're going to do everything that we can to keep the Kings here. We want the public to know that. But there are certain decisions that are going to be made that are beyond our control. If for some reason they choose to go elsewhere, then we are still going to push forward with a new entertainment and sports complex. We believe very strongly in the Icon Taylor Group. They made a commitment to this city to say they were going to volunteer and donate their time and do a financial feasibility analysis of what it would take to build a new entertainment and sports complex. And they've also committed, as recent as All-Star Weekend, to say to me that they will do a financial analysis with the Kings as a major tenant, and they will also do an analysis that does not have the Kings as a tenant. We as a city can't ask more from those folks. So that will go forward. So in the next 75 days or so, we'll clearly hear from them what they think it will take to build a new arena. I can't mince words at this point. I'm disappointed with where we are. I would have preferred a phone call in advance. I think the city has been good partners in good faith with the Kings. Again, this is an emotional issue for our community. And to not have got the heads up in advance is a little bit disappointing. I'm still holding out hope, though. This Friday is tomorrow. We're hoping that they provide the financial documents to the Icon Taylor Group so that they can do a financial analysis and put forth a feasibility study as they promised. If that doesn't take place, then I think actions will speak louder than words at that point.
Do you think the Maloofs have been playing the city?
I don't want to speculate on that. What I will tell you is what I feel. And what I felt is that we could have been notified that they were thinking about filing an extension and not reading it on a Google alert. That to me is not how you deal with partners. I think they have a fiduciary responsibility. We have a financial partnership with each other. And again, I think this community hasn't been invested with the Kings and Maloofs organization on an emotional level. And so I was disappointed, from that standpoint. I will say this, that, we as a community, again, I talked to council members before I came downstairs, we're not going to just sit around and twiddle our fingers and wait for our fate to be decided. We're going to do our part to try to keep them here, but we've got to look at all of our options as well, and that's what this community deserves. I can walk down the street from here to lunch and back, and no less than a dozen people are going to come up to me and say, we've got to keep the Kings. What can we do? This is what the community wants. The Kings bears the name of the city, the Sacramento Kings. And when I say the city, they represent the city, the county, and our region. This is a regional issue. I had breakfast with Darrell Steinberg 2 days ago. Talked to council member colleagues, talked to other legislators. We're all in this together, and we're going to figure out a way to go forward. Again, I hope to goodness that the Kings are going to be here. That's what we want. That's our first priority, and we're going to do everything that we can to make it happen. But we don't want to feel like we're kept in the dark. And I said this a couple days ago. We're not going to be used as leverage. We're not going to be a city that just stands around and we're being used for negotiation ploys or tactics in some other community. We want to be dealt with like an adult, having good, tough, honest conversations. We certainly understand some of the financial challenges that organization is dealing with. But at the same token, you cannot tell me that this community, this market, is not a great market for the NBA. If you think about it, if you look back, and I'm sure Commissioner Stern would say this, Sacramento is a great NBA market. We have great fans. In fact, if you go back, 5-6 years ago, we've had some of the best fans in all the NBA. So it's a great market. It's a great atmosphere. We're a great NBA city, and I think we deserve to have an opportunity to have a professional team here in Sacramento.
Mayor, do you
when you have challenges like we have today, that market, that atmosphere, these great fans didn't just automatically disappear. It's been a little bit of a down year in terms of the basketball product that we put on the court, but it will not take long for our fans to rekindle that spirit and that energy and that support and that loyalty that we have exhibited so faithfully over the last 20 plus years.
Mayor, other cities have fought major league teams when they leave. Are you going to try and fight them if they do decide they got a better deal somewhere else?
You know, I don't want to go down that road yet, and here's the reason why. Again, I'm holding out hope that they produce their financial to the Icahn Taylor Group tomorrow. We now know that they have filed for an extension, which goes into mid-April, which means, ironically, it'll be right after the season. We need to know next week what all our options are. We need to, you know, for my commitment is, again, I go back, I'm going to fight to see if we can keep them here. And we're going to do that. We want fans to go out and continue to support our team, to hear we stay, the game over. All this energy is great, so we're going to fight. The deal is not done. We know they're looking elsewhere, but it's not a done deal. If it was a done deal, they would have filed on March 1st. So we know that. So from our vantage point, what are our options? So I will fight to keep them here, but we're also going to fight to make sure our city gets every dollar that is owed them, paid to them, if for some reason they leave. Our community deserves to be paid back in full. We're going to fight to make that happen. And then we're going to figure out how to go forward. And we need to know what all those options are. And I alluded to this a moment ago. We're not just going to sit here and wait for them to determine what they want to do. We're going to be a driver in this discussion. We're going to say, here's our options. Here's what the financial obligations are. Here's what our rights and other opportunities may be. We need to know what all those are, and I think you'll see that begin to surface full force next week.
Over the weekend, David Stern said that he has talked to you. Do you feel that you have, in the city of Sacramento, has the support from the NBA? When was the last time you spoke to him, and what was that tone of that conversation like?
So I talked to the commissioner. All-Star Weekend was Friday, probably a Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, a couple days before All-Star Weekend. You know, he and I talk every 2-3 weeks. I mean, so, you know, I have a very good relationship with the commissioner. You know, his point was essentially what he was saying were two things. One is Sacramento's a great market, and it's a shame that you guys don't have a new entertainment sports complex in Sacramento, because you guys have a great market. Your fan base is proven, the loyalty, the support, what you guys have managed to do. We had like a 10-year run that was second to none in the NBA. He gets, and I would assure you, he would endorse the Sacramento market as a great basketball city, as a great basketball town. The challenge for him at the time was, you guys in the city have been trying to build a new entertainment sports complex for a decade and haven't done it. It is hard for our franchises to compete economically if you don't have those type of facilities with luxury box and suites and all the things that go with that. And his point is, if you guys can figure out how to get that done, then why would the Kings or anybody not want to be here in Sacramento? And quite honestly, I think that's part of, you know, what the Malusa's frustration is. Now, how much they have the blame and what responsibility they have and all that, we can negotiate. But I think that was Stern's message. You have a great market. I hope to God that you can figure out a way to build a new entertainment sports complex, because your community deserves it.
Mayor, knowing what you know about Commissioner Stern and the NBA, do you feel that he would allow a move to go forward with you as the mayor and with you going forward trying to get something done in Sacramento? Because that, if they allowed that to happen, then it really goes counter against what he said. Do you think that he would allow that to happen?
I think so. Let me just say, Mark, I'm speculating, so I do not want to get in trouble for putting words in Commissioner Stern's mouth here. But, you know, I think what he'd say is that I believe in you as a mayor, and I believe in your community. He said, but I'm also commissioner of owners in the NBA. Sure. And that franchise has been losing money in Sacramento for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. It's tough for smaller markets to compete. That's why all of us are, you know, the irony of this would be if they leave and then there's a collective bargaining agreement that has revenue sharing and we as a community are not benefiting from that. So, I mean, that is where I think the NBA is focused. The other thing that might give you a little insight, you know, the commissioner would say that Seattle lost their team to Oklahoma City.
Right.
Why did they lose it to Oklahoma City? Because they had an arena. They had a place for a team to play. Now Seattle is trying to get a new franchise back. And the commissioner is supportive of the Seattle market. He said that in his comments at All-Star Weekend. He's supportive of the Seattle market. The trick is they got to build a stadium. If you build a stadium, then you know Seattle would be a very good community when it comes to supporting basketball So I feel like what he was saying in Sacramento is,